What's happening, everyone? Today we have this commercial Exmark, and it is having a weird problem. The owner says it's smoking a lot and won't rev up. But when you pull on it, it does seem like it has a decent amount of compression, so I'm not 100% sure what that is. So, a little backstory on this though, to make it a little easier to diagnose. The previous owner that I got this from said that he found it for free on the side of the road, didn't know anything about it, and then happened to talk to the guy that was putting the edge of the road and asked him if, while he was loading it, asked him what was wrong, and he said it's smoking and it's hard to start. He's like, okay. So he figured he can get it fixed up. He's a commercial person, so this is a good addition to his fleet. So he got it, can't figure it out, and now he put it on the side of the road, oddly enough, and I drove by and I found it. So let's see if third time's the charm. So I have yet to do anything with it except take a quick look at it. It does have oil, surprisingly fresh looking fuel cap. Oil's clean. Air filter that came with it was also clean, except it was chilling on top of the bag. I just didn't put it on yet because I figure we'll probably be using starting fluid anyway. And everything seems to be in good working order. Cables, all that seem to be doing good. So far we're doing good, except for that smoking problem. So let's see what that smoking problem looks like. It really would be sad if this is a bad motor. These are pretty decent, but it is what it is. Oh, it has a choke, that's right. Turn the choke. Yeah, that's a smoking problem right there. Except it does not sound or smell like oil, like at all. It is overhead valve, so potentially could have a blown head gasket. Maybe the compression is forcing the oil in the combustion chamber, but that's a lot. Usually that will happen, except it won't be nearly as much. And this smells a lot like fuel, and it looks a lot like fuel. So we might have a carb problem. I did disengage the choke, and I can kind of tell that it did make some difference, but maybe it's not being disengaged all the way. I think we're going to take off we're just going to take the carb off. I'm going to see if the choke is disengaging or is it stuck, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, it's definitely unburned fuel. Like, the smell of fuel in this garage now is pretty heavy. I think before we do anything, we're gonna turn the fuel off. There'll be a little bit left in the line, but that's fine. The fuel that is in the tank, however, smells almost brand new. So that's a good thing. This is not the easiest thing to take off. In fact, let me take the fuel line off first, because there's really not a whole lot keeping it on after you remove the fuel line. So, fuel line pliers have somehow magically, oh, there they are, went away. Take the clip off. Anyway, there's nothing holding. There's really no easy way of removing the fuel line with the screws taken out, so we'll take out the screws first. We'll prop up the fuel line somewhere so it doesn't leak. It is odd that it didn't come out, or nothing came out. Unfortunate thing is we're not going to be able to really check if the choke is completely disengaging, so let's do a little preliminary, because I want to make sure. that is working correctly. So that's no choke. So right there's a little arm that gets pushed and turns the choke on from the looks of it. Or maybe it's somewhere else. I think it's that one. But looking at the butterfly, the choke does appear like it's being completely disengaged. So, I was really hoping it was just a simple choke problem. I mean, we're not done yet. Maybe it is. Maybe the post is broken. We'll have to steal one from a different carburetor. And the actual butterfly is just not moving at all. It's always a possibility. It's kind of rare. No, and it's just sopping wet with fuel in there. Okay. Well, let's take the choke out. I'll take the throttle out. I think we will maybe open it up and see if is there, no. Sometimes if there's a gasket that's not correct, the carb itself won't breathe right, but that's usually the opposite problem, where it doesn't get enough fuel. So I don't really see that being a problem, getting too much fuel. Spare you the impact noise, but the fuel that came out of the bowl looked fine from what I've seen, just what it dripped out. I have seen in some cases where the jet has literally fallen out. There's a little bit of water in there, but that's really about it. And like I said, the fuel doesn't seem to be horrible. So I also don't see the fuel jet anywhere. It would be causing a problem. It very well could be this is not sealing and there's so much fuel, but usually at that point it would be leaking all the time, and it's not leaking all the time. Oh well, I'll still blow through there. I don't know. It seems to be fine. Oh my god. I think I see it already. There is no jet in there. It is literally pulling fuel through the straight emulsion tube. That's crazy. I didn't just drop it somewhere, did I? I'm going to take a quick look at the floor and make sure I didn't drop it somewhere. I looked at the previous footage. I looked on the table. I looked on the floor. I cannot find a jet anywhere, so I just don't think it actually came with one. However, I do have an old carb that I took the jet out, cleaned it up, and I want to see if this one will fit in this one. I think it will. It's kind of looking doubtful now. Oh, it will. Oh, maybe, oh no. Let's give it a tightening and see if it doesn't go in smoothly, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to take it out and continue. But the carb that I took this out of is basically the same, except the post right here is broken on that carb. So I'd rather use this one. You know, just the lack of leaking fuel, or not wanting to leak fuel when you're mowing, or you don't have to constantly turn off the fuel line when it's sitting, you know, stuff like that. Okay, I'll tighten it up just to make sure. Nice and tight. Okay, I'm going to put the bowl back on, and I'm going to install the jet. I will bring you back. I'm going to probably just put the linkages and everything back on. Same way they came off, pretty self-explanatory. while I connect the fuel line. Oh, and by the way, just have to make sure this little piece goes shoved up in this little hole, and that's fine. But anyway, while I connect the fuel line, I want to explain what I originally thought after seeing it. When the carb overflows because the needle and seat aren't playing well together, it will constantly be just putting fuel in the bowl or the carb, and that fuel has to go somewhere. And that fuel oftentimes will spill out through the top or through the bowl gasket area, or go directly through the emulsion tube, which was what I thought. And at that point in time, it's just constantly feeding fuel. But it doesn't appear to be leaking. I'm going to spend a moment and try to find that filter, put it back on, and we'll give this a pull, see if that fixed it. Wouldn't that be amazing if that was the only thing that was wrong with this? But I found the filter, and this is literally the filter that came with it. It's practically brand new. Which is another potential problem. If your filter is super plugged, it will do exactly what we had happening. So I would say the first thing that you're going to want to check, if this is not your problem, is the filter wet. Can also happen. Maybe you tipped it over on the wrong side and filled it with oil. Oil doesn't breathe very well. Rain, stuff like that. But I think, judging by how much fuel is already in the top of that carb, and what I saw in the intake, I'm just going to put it on full throttle and give it a pull and put choke on later. Looks like the recoil needs a little lubrication. I think it kind of wanted to there. Try one more time. I'll put the choke on. Yeah, choke. It's cold outside. It's like the first lower 40s day. And yes, I'm still wearing flip-flops. Yeah, that was it. It did kind of smoke in the very beginning. That very well could just be the fact that it was so rich before. It just had little remnants, maybe chilling in the muffler. You just need to burn that off and send it through. It smells like gas hardcore in here. Well, rich fuel burn smell. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. We'll have to work on the recoil, obviously, but that's it. Weird problem, to say the least. I was expecting the filter, assuming that it wasn't off and I got it, but majority of the time I was expecting the choke not to be working. That is majority of the time what you would expect, because that's what was happening. It was being choked out, more or less. It was just burning way too much fuel for optimum I don't know, burning. The mix is just too rich. So, weird fix, but if you have this problem, maybe the person tried to clean it and fix it and forgot it. That's what I'm assuming happened, because it definitely wasn't here when I got it. So, yeah, when you're cleaning your carburetor, make sure that you put the jet back in, otherwise this will happen. Weird video today, I understand, but hopefully this helped you out. If you cleaned your carb and you're having this problem, make sure you put the jet back in. Any of them, whether it be any of the jets that you take off, make sure you put it on, otherwise it won't run right. I'm going to leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, put a thumbs up. That helps me out. If it helped you, I'll put a thumbs up because that definitely helps me out too. And if there's any questions or comments, definitely leave a comment below. If you need any personalized help with your machine, feel free to become a member. That is a perk, and I'll be happy to help you out. You have a good rest of your day.